right, there we go. Hey everyone, Richard Carlton here. Welcome to another great day of FileMaker training at fmtraining.tv. I'm the creator of fmtraining.tv, where you can learn all about the FileMaker platform and learn how to build better FileMaker applications for you, your customers, your organization. This broadcast is completely free to everyone and is being broadcast in high definition to Discord, YouTube, and to Twitch. This broadcast is being recorded, which is really great. Of course, we might clean up the recording a little bit, so if we make a malfunction during the live stream, then of course we reserve the right to clean that up on the recording later on. However, because it's a live broadcast, we encourage you to ask questions. In fact, some people get aggravated when there's this dialogue with you and we ask questions. We want questions. If you have a question, odds are other people have the question too. And so I want to thank everyone for logging in, Ken and TK and Dave One, Dave Learning, Ed, Elzo, Carol, Jake, Mike, all of you, welcome once again to another great broadcast. Now, as a reminder, if you want to check out the upcoming broadcast, go to fmtraining.tv, press the left tab for the live button. You can see the upcoming broadcast schedule. That's pretty awesome. Additionally, if you want to help support this channel, right? We always say this, this broadcast is brought to you by fmtraining.tv, bringing you the greatest and the most entertaining FileMaker training videos available. So the idea is that if you want to help support the channel, make sure you check out our on-demand video bundles. We have videos that cover the latest version of FileMaker. We have videos that cover the deploy course. In fact, we used to sell the courses individually. Anymore, it's just much simpler to sell a complete bundle for a low price. We do this on an annual basis. So if you buy one of the bundles, that really helps support the channel. It ensures that we can keep coming back every day.
So welcome back to day 4. It's the Webviewer widget integrations file. So today we're going to work on finalizing the JavaScript functions for our accordion. So I added quite a few new things in there. So I've added subpanels into it. And I've also added some other functions in there so we can add new buttons above the rest of the accordion buttons, and we can also embed them inside of the other accordions. So a minute ago, I was just showing off that this is W3 accordion, and it works great for this. The issue comes when you're trying to do sub panels. So it doesn't adjust the height of the sub panel. Actually, what it doesn't adjust is the height of the parent panel. So it opens up the sub panels, but it doesn't adjust the parent panel. So that was kind of an issue. So I did some work on that. And so I have this one down here, which does the sub panels. So W3 accordion with sub panels. So that's here. And now if we open up these sub panels, we can see that everything's working. I can scroll down, everything shows up. So, and we can close them, everything's working. So as I said, I added a few extra scripts here. So I have the 2 different methods. W3 suggests the max height, but it doesn't adjust the max height of the parent object, it's parent div. So I'm using this block method, which is basically showing or hiding the block, the div block, which allows me to open up those sub panels easier. And then, all these other functions, they still work. I can do that, and it just changed all the text, and it changed all the buttons. I do love this one. 2 fish are in a tank, and one turns to the other and says, "How do you drive this thing?" Thought that was funny. So yeah, some of the other things you can do now. As I said, I added quite a few things here. So we can add new elements to the end. And if I go back in here, we can add new elements to the beginning. So one of the issues I saw here is we got 7, 6, 5, 4. Maybe that's not really the order that you want. So I added another script here. So it shows in order. So it basically does the same thing, but it puts it in the correct order. So if I do that, now it's 4, 5, 6, 7. So it added these to the top. And then see, I also did, we got a lot of stuff here. I'm going to clear this so we can start fresh here for the next one. And if I go in here, so you might want to add a new panel in between two existing panels. So I put after panel 2. So I programmed that into the script, and I do that. And now we have 1, 2, and then we have this new one in the middle, and then 3. And so this opens up, and now you can insert accordion objects in the middle. So pretty handy. And I also wanted to demonstrate that you can do different colors. You can add images in here. You could also do input fields. You can do all kinds of stuff in here. So whatever you can think of, whatever you need to do, all of that's possible here. So I wanted to kind of demo that. And also, if I wanted to put a new element inside of panel 2, I have an option to do that. So you can see it doesn't look like it did anything, but if I go into number 2, now all of a sudden there's a sub panel that showed up. And then I can open that up and you can see that same thing. So you can see both of them are there. So really handy to be able to do that programmatically without having to reload the Webviewer. So we can trying to think of how much time we have because we want to get into actually building some new widgets. But I am going to share this file, and you can look through all of this. So this is one we were having trouble yesterday. So let me go ahead and show you how I did that. So if I go into this and I go into our HTML, so insert, see, we have, I added a whole bunch of different functions in here. So insert new div before, that's the one that's putting it at the very top. And I was trying to use insert before function, but what I ended up having to do is using a different function called insert adjacent element. Insert adjacent element is much more flexible. There's 4 different parameters here. There's, let me pull that up here in W3. Make this smaller so I can read. Okay, so W3 insert adjacent HTML. Oh, wrong one, W3. W3 does the best demonstrations and explanations of all of these. So I usually like to go to W3 over all the others. But I just wanted to point out that there's 4 different options here. So you can do after begin, after end, or before begin and before end. And what that means is we can use these to, if I go up here so you can actually see some of this. So after begin, so like here I have this div here, and if I use after begin, it's going to insert right here after this div began. After end would put it all the way down at the very bottom after this parent div ends. And then before begin would put it up here above that div, and then before end would put it at the very end right here before that last div. Before that div closes, that's where we put it. So this is really flexible, and if using this function, you can put your new div element anywhere you want. So really handy, and that was much cleaner code to try to program. So that solved our problem from yesterday. Let's see. And I use that same function for inserting in the middle and inserting inside of a panel. I just use this function, and then I just change the after begin and after end and so on to make it work the way we wanted. For those of us with a rudimentary JavaScript experience, I'm reading a question here. Is there a good way to determine which functions are standard JavaScript and custom? So yeah, all of your custom functions are going to be in your script at the very bottom. And when you're first learning, you might not know what different functions are native JavaScript functions versus the ones that you program. I'm not sure if there's a good way to determine that. like thinking about maybe creating a function that makes a list of all the functions. I'm not sure. But you can look down here in your scripts and see what's here. So you can see update HTML, update value, new button, new div. So you can see what all of the functions are here. And if it's not in this list, then it's probably a JavaScript function. When you see import, big chance it's more advanced. Yeah, if you see import, oftentimes at the start of the script, or you'll see it sometimes up in the head. I don't know if there's an import in this one. No. But sometimes you'll see import here, and it'll import like CSS from a website, or maybe it'll import JavaScript from a website. That'll all be usually at the top here in the header. It's part of preloading everything. So, all right, moving on. Let's close this out. And so I'm just going to do one more here. And I'm kind of giving you all a moment to find any widgets you want me to install next. But so this is the last of the widgets from those first two columns. So here we can do Kyle Williams, and then next, and email address, phone number, and then next. So this allows us to get a lot of information. So I did have a couple issues with this one. So I didn't edit any of this. I didn't change it. But really, the date should be a date field, not just a text box. So I can show you how to fix that. And then we have some different options there. So that works. Username, name, password. And then the last one is submit. So the submit button did show up an alert. I can't click it again, though. That's kind of weird. So I kind of wanted to see about fixing this, because obviously phone number doesn't need to be one of these fields with it up and down like this. Why would you ever use these controls with the phone number? I don't know. So I kind of wanted to maybe fix those. So go into our script and multi-sign up form. We can look at our HTML. And if I scroll down, bullet, outer page, field, text, first name, last name, contact info, email address. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll open this back. Oh, can't open it up with this open. Okay, open that back up so we can see what's going on. And we'll put that off to the side, bring our script back up. Okay, wanted to be able to see both things at the same time. All right, so if I can't go to the next with this open. Okay, so yeah, what do we want to adjust? We want to adjust the phone number because we don't want that to be a number field. So I could go in here and then we could see. Let me just go into the code here, because we want to make sure that it saves in the script. So the next time we open it, everything works the way we want. There's phone number. So phone number, we don't want to be a number field. So this could just be a text field. My fingers can type. So text. And then the other thing is date of birth, class, title, div, date. Okay. Input field. We don't want that to be text. We want that to be date. So date gives us a date input field. That'll give us a date selector. So if I save that and we close this, and we'll just run that again. And now let's go through here. So yeah, the phone number field is now a text field, so you can actually type a phone number. You can put your area code here like that, and put a space, and your other numbers here. So on, so that works. And then here we have a date selector now. So now we can go through our dates and select date. So like that. And then submit, we can work on the submit button as well. So if I go into here and let's close that. So here, if we want some JSON, so we go up here, we can get this pre-built. Actually, no, I don't want that one. I want the one down here that has our everything in it. Okay. So we don't need that. We just want this. Okay, so copy. Then we go back here. And then, all right. So event listener, click. Trying to see where it's all loading. First button, second button, third, fourth. Submit button. So that's what I'm looking for. So if there we go. Helps to have the MBF plugin for that. And then here, here's where I was giving the alert. So instead of doing this alert, we want to open that up and we just create our JSON here. And then we want to do a var JSON so that we can set our variable. And then we want to get our data. So here's where we want to map our fields out. And so we would do username. So we'll just say, and then pdub. Okay, so we want to be able to figure out what these equal. So if we go up here, we got query. All right. So I need to be able to source the IDs of the elements that we want. So progress bar step, bullet step. Let me just do. There we go. Again, it really helps to be able to search this stuff. Okay, so username, div, class, label. So we want to give this div an ID or input type an ID. So you go to the input type, you give that an ID, and then you can get the value from it. So ID equals username and copy, and then we come down here to password. And again, we want to go in here, give that an ID of password. Okay. Now in our JavaScript part, go down here. We want to get element by ID. Usually I like to copy and paste, because if you have a typo, if something's not capitalized, and this is one of the, if you follow Jeremy Brown, he'll show you how to integrate with VS Code, and it just makes life a whole lot easier when you can actually do that. So perhaps we can have him on the show someday, or you can go check out he's got a community site he can show you on his own site. All right, so we want to do var un equals, and again, one equal sign is just assigning a value to an element. So we have our element un, and we want to make that into a variable, and we want that variable to equal a value. And so we want to get the value using the ID, username. And here we're going to go here and PW. So I think I'm just going to leave it with this, and you can kind of do the rest of the elements the same way. It's just going to take too long to do all of it. So I'm just going to try to save that, and we'll go ahead and run it again. And now when I do, oh, I just want username, password, don't I? Username, password, my username, my password. Submit. And there it is. So this is in a FileMaker script. It's passing the parameter, and FileMaker's formatting that parameter so that we can see it and read it. So to get the rest of the data, you just keep doing the same thing. You give all these different elements an ID, and then you just get element by ID, and then you can get the values from those. And again, when you're getting values from the ID, if there's a checkbox or a radio button, you have to use .checked instead of .value. But other than that, everything's .value, so makes it pretty easy. I'm looking for any questions here.
Nothing on YouTube or Twitch.
No,
Since that
okay.
got fixed. A reminder, people, I am watching those.
All right, so we're going to get to some fun stuff here.
Stu did mention that it was helpful to see you work through that. David Angel said this is not just advanced, this is super advanced, which...
all right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go through this right column fairly quick, but we'll spend a little time on the full integration of the canvas and the image cropper. The games, I'm just going to kind of show you. I'm not going to spend too much time on those. And then we'll get into creating some. So hopefully we can get through this fast enough and still have enough time. We can create some new widgets here. But I want to make sure we get to these today. So this one I just found on a website. I think David Angel was pointing it out to me that they have this widget on this website, and wanted to see if I can integrate that into FileMaker. So yeah, you can do all kinds of different colors. You can draw. I think this is an eraser. Yeah, so that's an eraser. And then it's got save and clear button, so the clear button will clear it. And I have not programmed the save button on this. So for the full integration, I have this next button here, and this will create a new canvas for us to draw on. And again, like the last one, we can draw on here. We got all the different color selections. We have our eraser, and we can clear it. If we do, we'll just do that and save it. And you can see right there, it just saved that little squiggle inside of a FileMaker record in a container. I can export the field contents. And so drawing PNG. So that's really cool. So I'm going to delete that. Delete. Okay. So I have a couple pictures here that we can play around with. I had this picture. I did do a little sample right here. And again, I can copy and export this, or copy and paste it somewhere else, export it. So it is an image that was created with this feature, and I was able to draw on it. So let's go ahead and play around with that. So we'll take this, we'll say load image, and it's going to load it inside of our editor. And now I can do like I did before and say, so you got to get really good with the mouse. So we'll do that, and then I'll hit save. And just like that, we have it here. And now if I wanted to export it, I can export it. So downloads, I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Let me get that off the screen here for a moment.
A quick question about the drawing. Does it work on touchscreen on Windows?
It should. I don't see why it wouldn't.
And then David,
I haven't tested that, so I can't say for certain.
So basically the answer is it should, but it's not been tested, Stu.
So yeah, you can have an image, you can draw on it. So really cool. Under the view menu. So if I go view, show sidebar. Oh, there we go. Okay. So downloads. Let me find it before I share too many of my own files. Okay, there it is. So now we have it, and you can see it kept that edit right on there. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that and find her went all funny. Okay, so image cropper. This one's really cool. Let's see if I can zoom out. Oh, okay. So you can zoom in and out with this. I can draw where on here I want to crop, and then I can rotate it. So if I don't like how it's sitting, I can do that. Then I can hit the save button, and it'll save it on the left. So this is really handy. So if I go back to here and put this drawing in there, I can say load crop tool, and there it is. So if I just want that, I can do save, and then I get a cropped image. So that's really handy. And yeah, you can zoom in, zoom out. So pretty cool. The way this works is we do this debugger. If I hit the save button, what it's doing is it's exporting it as base64 text as a parameter. So if I go to data viewer and get rid of all of this, parameter. So this is our base64 text, and my script then takes out this data image PNG base64. So it takes this text out of it, and then it uses the rest, and then converts that base64 text back into an image in FileMaker and puts it in the container. So yeah, right here you can see base64 decode. It's using substitute to get rid of some different possible things that could be there. If it's a JPEG, if it's PNG, it's going to pull that out of the text that it receives from the Webviewer. It's going to use base64 and put it into the container field. And just like that, you can see it updated. So pretty cool. Load a blank image.
So yeah, put something white in there so you can just doodle on top of it.
Oh. Well, yeah, so you can't do a blank image into this, but you can do a blank image into a canvas. This is a blank image. And that you can save. So if I create a new record and I say load image, that's loading what was in the container field, which was nothing. And then I can still edit that and still save it. It still works. Let's go back into it. Okay, so here we just, I did all of these games just kind of for fun. If you've ever played Connect 4, it's, so there you can see red just won, and it said red just won. And there's a restart button, and you can start over and play again. So yeah, a lot of these I just kind of did for fun, just to show you that you can do more than just stuff for your applications. You can have some fun with it and create some games. Minesweeper's pretty hard, but and then there's a little Pong game that I move the mouse cursor and it moves my paddle with my cursor, so that way I can. Yeah, so kind of a silly game, but 1, 2, 3, 4. This will put a 1 in there, which allows me to go again. And if I go here, then it's the next player's turn. So this is another fun game for 2 people. If your last dot goes into the tray, then you get another turn. If the last dot ends up here like it did, then now it's the first player's turn. So if you've ever played this game, it's kind of fun. I played around with this for probably 20 minutes after I created it. So yeah, Mastermind, my strategy is always just do the colors. So I already know there's no yellows. I can do green. I know there's one green. I do the blue. I can skip the rest of the colors. Now I can do 2 reds and say green and a blue. I can see one of them's in the correct spot. I can see 3 are not in the correct spot. So just kind of a fun game.
Oh, real quick, what was I going to say? from Lab 404, it's possible to play another user connected to the same database for the thing for the previous game?
I think you have to be using the same computer. I don't think you can really network that. It's not designed for that.
Gotcha.
If you know APIs really well, you can make it happen. But it doesn't just do it out of the box. Sorry. Yeah. So once you win, it'll show it up here, and it'll say, congratulations. Tic-tac-toe, pretty basic. You can have 2 players. It doesn't do thinking for you, so you gotta just you both play it. I don't know why the restart button doesn't work, but again, these are just all little widgets that I put together really quick that other people created. This one I really like. I was having some fun with it. So one of the issues was if there's an empty spot, I could just put any card there. It has to be a king. Nothing else can go in an empty spot. If you wanted to break that rule and put anything there, I do have some code that you can use to make the game easier. You can also change it so it only does 1 card at a time when you're drawing. So there's a couple things you can do there. So if you wanted to have so you can put the card stack anywhere, I put the code right here. So, something else I didn't explain before, with 2 ampersands, that means and 2 pipes means or in JavaScript. So whenever you see this in JavaScript, this is basically, it's one thing and another thing are true. So it's, you're trying to find Boolean values. If both these things are true, then go ahead. If not, then don't do it, kind of thing. So and or. Another thing you'll see in JavaScript is an exclamation and an equal sign, and that means not equal to. So whenever you're comparing 2 things together, you use either equals equals or equals equals equals. So either 2 or 3 equals to compare. So the difference is that this, if you have a text value and a number value, it could possibly think they're the same value. If it's the number 0 and then a text 0, it's going to see those as equal. But with 3 equals, it has to be exactly the same. So the data type has to be exactly the same as well as the value. So that's the difference between those different things. And if it's only 1 equals, that means you're assigning a value to an object or a field. So yeah, oftentimes if you do see an exclamation point, it basically is the same as FileMaker's not function. So it means it's not whatever the next thing is. So it could be a Boolean value after that. It could be val or something, because maybe you defined a variable as val or value, and you want to create a Boolean, use that as a Boolean value, and you put the exclamation before it, and suddenly it's not whatever that is. So if your value is greater than 0, then not greater than 0. So it's all about getting the opposite of whatever this value is. So a couple things I didn't really explain before. Figure I should probably get to it. So you can see there's 3 equals here. These have to be exactly the same. And then they're comparing it. So you have the target card is exactly undefined, or target card is exactly king. So those are the 2 things it's looking for. And so only a king can go into an empty spot. So using this, you go into here, and it's all the way down here. There's one spot where it mentions the king right here. So you basically take this and you swap it out. So copy, paste. Okay. Okay, I see what's going on. So it was and. So in order to change it, you just do or. So then it wouldn't be trying to look at if both of those are true. So that's kind of how you fix that if you wanted to make it a really easy game. And then how many cards are being used. It's looking, cards are greater than 2. It's somewhere in here. So I'd have to find it again. Drags. So yeah, that's going to take a while to find that, but it's in there. You can play around with that if you wanted to play solitaire and make it your own game, and you can customize the CSS, make it look a little different. Just depends on how creative you want to be. So we're at 146 now. So let's go ahead and get started on one of these new widgets.
Yes, what did the chat end up choosing?
So one of them, it's going to Discord. Okay, let me open this up. Oh, it's because I was pulling the link out of Discord. See, highlighted text, I think, was one of them. So if I go there, so highlighted search text, this one would be pretty handy to do. And so we can download the code. Oh, it's not like the other side where we can just copy and paste it straight from the website. Okay, so this, oh, good, we don't have to wait for it this time. The other website you have to wait 30 seconds for, and they have all their advertising. Okay, so that basically gave us this. So now we have a few files to play with. And so let's move this to the side, move this over a little bit, and we'll go into here, and we're going to want to take this universal template and duplicate it. So we put another line here, keep this section separate. Oh, and then I was working on some ideas here, so you can ignore that. I'll put that up here for now. Okay, so here we had a template, and I'm just going to use Control D to make a couple more so we have them ready. Okay, so if we go back to our file over here, we have our index. Oh, that's showing it in the Webviewer. So we're going to want to open this with a text viewer. Sublime Text is usually pretty good for that. And so here I can take all of this, I can copy it, and we'll go over here. So I'm just going to do this, and where we have our source, we're just going to use our substitute and make that JS. And I'm going to put some return carriages here so we can see this a little better. Okay, so we got our JS there, and then it looks like we have a style sheet here. Okay, so I'm just going to remove this. And here we're going to do style and style. And in between, I'm going to do CSS, a couple asterisks. Here we have a URL, so we don't need to worry about that just yet. This could be imported the same way. You can make another section just like this, which, with another CSS2 or something, so that you can have that all available offline. Okay, so we got CSS, JS. Not going to worry about the body. Okay, so here we have our JavaScript. It's fairly simple. So copy, and going to close that. And that was our JavaScript, so insert text, and we'll just put that in there. And then our CSS. Oh. Okay, sorry, technical difficulty here. Sublime Text, there we go. So just Control A to copy it all, Control C. Okay, so now we have this, we can go into here, and now we want to add our CSS in here. So just like that, we have all of our CSS, and at the end, this is going to put it all together. So it's going to take our HTML and our CSS or JavaScript, put it all together, and it's going to create a new window and populate that window. So something else I probably want to do Just copy that and put our Webviewer widget name up here. And we could even rename this and then save. Okay, so now we have this and we can run it. And now if I type, there it is. So that's working. Word. See if we can do more than one word at a time. Yep. So I don't, is it case sensitive? If I do he ordered. So it's not case sensitive. That's cool. So if I do to search. So yeah, pretty cool. And again, that can be resized. Something I love about JavaScript is you can resize a window and it'll resize everything in it. You can also anchor this so it expands sideways. I'm surprised they didn't do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and add that to our layout. So perform script, and there's our new script. So now we have that on the layout. Okay, so then we have another one. Let's see, somebody was saying the very first one up here they wanted to see. So let's go into that. All right, so this one has vertical tabs on the side. And if we go down here, so we have this. Oh, sometimes there's little buttons that show up in the corner, not on this side apparently. So I'm just going to copy that code and we'll go back to our FileMaker. And here I'm going to take this and we'll just paste all this in here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look for any CSS. So we have, it's using some external CSS. There it is, style sheet. So we open that up and we just, again, use our style here, do our end style, and put our double asterisk CSS there. Container. Okay. I'm not seeing any JavaScript at the bottom. I think that's it. So just two files and copy codes. Go back over here, CSS, insert text, paste that in. So again, we don't need the body, don't need the JavaScript for this. I wanted to show this to you. I actually moved this into a custom function, this formula that I had. And the other thing I did is I put an exit script here and I put all this above the new window. So now, because I have the exit script on there, I can save this, I can run it, and it doesn't open up the new window. I can just go straight to data viewer, go to current. I can add that to my watch, and you open it up, and everything's already set, and you can paste this into a set variable function, and it'll work. So pretty cool. I was playing around with that last night as well. So that way it's just a little bit easier, because before I had it after the new window and it would pop up the new window and then I'd have to try to close the window, and it was kind of a pain. So it's a little bit more streamlined, and then you can just disable that. So here, I think that's it. And if I go back to the website, we'll just create tab design, I guess. We'll call it that. Okay, let's create tab design. And we want to make sure that we update the widget name. And that should be it. Okay, so let's go ahead and run that. Save. Yay! Just like that, everything works. So really simple and easy to just be able to integrate this stuff into FileMaker. Again, you can add scripts to your buttons to be able to call FileMaker to be able to pass the data. So we can make this really useful. We can customize all this text and everything. using what we've shown over the past several days. So let's go ahead and add that button in here. I'm just going to call it tab design. It's a little simpler. And then perform script and tab design. And I don't think I did the cursor over the last one. Okay. So now it's right here. We can select it. Everything works. Awesome. All right. So did we have any requests for the third one?
I don't see any in YouTube or Twitch, but I don't know if they would have really had the option to request.
Yeah. Thanks, Ruben.
Random password
generator. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me try to find that one again. All right. So here we go. Open it up. Okay. So here, scroll down. So this I like because you can open it up a new window. You can select it all, or you can just hit this copy button right here. So they're copied to the clipboard. And then we'll go to our third one here. And again, we'll just paste that in. Looks like the script is already here, so we don't have to worry about JavaScript. And we have one external CSS and one internal. So we want to replace this internal one. Style. And again, just like last time, we have our open style and our end style. And then we go in the middle, CSS, and just clean it up a little bit. Okay. And then, so we don't need the body or the JavaScript. And then I'll save that for a moment. Okay. So here, random password generator. Just copy that. And we'll add that up here. And rename it. Okay. I think that's it. Now we can run it. Oh, that's interesting. So we can generate the password. Oh, then we can copy it with the copy button, I assume. So I copied it. So generate. So something is weird going on with the CSS, I think. See if we can figure that out. So we have our sources, our style. Right here, it's empty. Okay. And then, all right, so I need to figure out why the style is empty. Okay. Oh, because it's, there we go. Okay. So let's scroll down, make sure we get our CSS added. Okay, and then I can just hit the copy button. I wish it would notify you that it copied it to the clipboard. So you're not just kind of guessing. Hopefully that's a correct CSS, not the CSS from the last one. Okay, so run. There it is. Much better. Okay. I like that much better. So now I can hit this a bunch of times and it gives me a random password. I got a little copy thing here. So I would probably want to change maybe the style of this a little bit, because when you generate and it was highlighting all of this, I couldn't see this at all. So I probably want to change the color of that. So yeah, you can play around with that and give it a different color. And when you generate it, well, this isn't really designed for a save and close button. It's, but you can, of course, add more buttons if you like. So yeah, pretty simple. Let's go ahead and add that here. Random password generator. Okay, and then perform script. There we go. Oh, and then I put this down here just in case you ever had the need to resize the text in one of your text fields. Like you can use an on-object exit trigger. So when I exit, it could run a script that says, okay, well, your text is this wide, but you already know how wide your text box is. You need it all to fit. And so then you can run some JavaScript in the background to figure out what the appropriate size for the text should be so that everything fits. So that was kind of the idea behind this. And the way this is working is that there's actually a hidden web viewer right on the layout. So if I go into layout mode here, right here is the web viewer it's using. So it's completely hidden, never shows up. It just needs to be on the layout, and then this will work. So if I add this, I can say, what's my text now? Question mark. And then run it again. Now it's 289. And inside the JavaScript, I don't know if I can, hey, it actually let me click on it. So in here, you can control what kind of, what your text is. So there's the font right there. Actually, if I go into here, calculate text width. So here, I actually did this a while ago, so I forgot. But I have it looking at the web viewer, calling a function. It's evaluating the text, and it's looking at the font. So I have italic 16 Verdana, which is what this is. And then it's using those as parameters inside the web viewer. And then right here, it's passing those parameters, calling the function, and that's what's giving us our data. And then there's an alert tag in here to give us the result. And so we can use this result inside of FileMaker. We can pass it to one of our scripts as a parameter, and then we can do our scripting with it for our on object exit script trigger to be able to see how wide our text is compared to how wide our field is, and then resize accordingly. So you can get active field attributes with FileMaker functions. So you can compare what the active field text field width is and include that in your function. So that way, in case you resize your text field, you can see what the current width is of that field. And then work that into your script. And then you can have the script trigger resize the text so it all fits. So that was the idea I had behind that. So that's it. Oh, did you find a moving sandglass somewhere? I did post a few links to that up above. I wasn't exactly sure what you wanted, so I found a few and I posted them all. I'm trying to find those links. Let's see. I scrolled up too far. So one good place to go to is Codepen. And so here you can see there's an animated hourglass. And I can, if I log in, I got too many emails. I can't remember if I used that. I think I was just using that for my login. There we go. Sure, save that. Okay, so Codepen is a great resource for finding new widgets. So here's new morphism login form. If I want to do that, I can just go in here, and you can see that I can edit stuff. When you click on it, it actually shows you all the emails. So it's using all the JavaScript engine and the browser engine, everything that you have in Chrome or whatever, and it's able to look up the different types into these fields. So that's pretty cool. And there's a sign up button. Oh, sign in, sign up. That's cool. So yeah, this could be a kind of a fun little widget to include. And how I would integrate this is I would go to view frame source, because if you get view page source, you're going to get everything. So you go to frame source, and it's going to get this what's called an iframe. So this is one iframe, and this is the other, and you want to get this frame's contents. So get frame source, and now you have all of this. You do have to be careful of any return carriages, empty lines at the top, because FileMaker won't recognize this as HTML without it starting directly with the tag. Right here, doc type HTML needs to be at the top. And then you can just copy all of this and copy all of that. You can go into here, and we'll do one more just for fun, because I kind of like that one. So duplicate, paste, and a lot of this. Again, with Codepen, you want to get rid of all of this. That's just garbage stuff. You don't need it. They also put some stuff down here at the bottom like this you don't really need. And then I think there's usually this. Usually this isn't needed. Sometimes there's been a couple cases where I actually had to put it back. But yeah, this should work as is. I shouldn't need any of this. So just save, run that. And it didn't work. So there must be usually that empty. Okay. So it did not load the Webviewer HTML, load Webviewer HTML. Not, oh, Webviewer name. Okay. Webviewer name is missing. Set variables. Webviewer name is web. Okay. Well, I'm not sure why that's not working. Anyhow, I'm just going to delete it then. Save, delete. But yeah, we can play around with that another time. I did have some other ideas too. Maybe I'll just leave that in here. So image editor I was going to do, or tab control. So there's some other ideas I had. All right. Any last questions before we exit?
I don't think so. I don't see anything in YouTube or
Oh.
Twitch. What?
Mark was just saying what he thought the problem was. Maybe I'll try that again real quick. Okay. One last try here. Duplicate. And then we had our this copy. I thought I selected all but that top one. And because normally I do a super trim here, which gets rid of the return carriages. So that's why I didn't even think of it. So yeah, just like this. And so yeah, you got to see why I was saying that if you have a return carriage up here, it won't recognize it as HTML. So you get rid of that, get rid of this stuff. Okay, now it'll work. Get rid of all of this. Save, run. Yay, there it is. All right, so we'll include that in with the demo, and I will work on getting this demo out to you, so you have all of that.
Okay, in that case, thank you everyone for coming. This was fantastic, Kyle. This was very cool. As always, glad to get that demo file from you. The rest of you all have a fantastic Friday.
Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir.